All right, guys, here we go. So today, in today's video, this is skill-based damage episode 3, and I will be couple updates here. I am going to be kicking off my next test this weekend, so that's 10 games on both the accounts. I'm going to be using the Tonto for this test just because it does have a lower fire rate. It's going to make things a little bit easier. Now the issue is going to be, getting up to level 19 with my essentially bot account. So I think I'm just going to play a few games of zombies so I can unlock the Tonto, and then from that point we'll do the same class, same settings, all that good stuff. So that will be happening this weekend, so expect the next test to come out. But what I have discovered in the meantime is this guy's channel, XReeve. This dude, he has 800 subscribers right now. It would not surprise me if this guy blows up to like over 1,000 by the end of this weekend, because he's been coming out with some really good content. So I actually am going to do a reaction video to one of his videos. One is about the Black Ops 6 matchmaking. The other is about the skill-based grenades, which I think a lot of people have kind of noticed and alluded to, but he's actually dug a little bit deeper, which I do appreciate him doing. He also has sent me over some of the data from his video too, so we're just going to take a look at that. But to get started, like, this guy is doing really good work. He's making really good quality videos, very in-depth analysis. So I kind of just like go through and react to it because I did watch this video. We may do a little bit of skipping around. It's a long video, so let's get to it.
Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. In my last video I asked you to join me in a little experiment, play a few matches back to back and see what kind of patterns you notice. Well, in the last days I sat down and played 8 matches in a row on Nuketown, all with the M4A1 sticking to the exact same playstyle, and let me tell you, the results are very interesting, because it is pretty clear that
I do want to note here that the test that he's running, I'm actually going to be replicating at the same time as the test that I'm running on skill-based damage. So definitely pay attention here, because we're gonna. I mean, yeah, just we'll get to the video. We'll get to the video. Sorry.
The matchmaking isn't just skill-based. In fact, there's no skill-based matchmaking, right? This is what we're led to believe. Because if traditional skill-based matchmaking was working the way it's supposed to, you would be matched with players of similar skill levels, right? Yes, but that's not what's happening here. Instead, the matchmaking feels deliberately unbalanced, and it's like a roller coaster. Win one, get crushed the next, over and over again. And there's no real consistency or flow to the games. And the community has suspected this for years. And
yes, he is 100% right. So I was actually, because they re-released Stake. I know I've said this multiple times that I'm not going to be playing Black Ops. I lied, haha. I went and played a few games of Stakeout, or several games of Stakeout, because it came back on the playlist, and I just wanted to get through the Dark Spine grind and actually unlock Dark Matter, so I did that. Main reason why I did that is because I wanted to use Dark Matter in my next video that I used for testing it. Just kind of like a whatever. I think it will draw more attention for the simple fact that you see a Dark Matter on the screen. I may be completely wrong in that, but whatever. It's kind of besides the point. But I was playing through the games on Stakeout, and it was definitely first thing I noticed, and I have screenshots of this, so I may actually put these screenshots in post-editing. Like, I could not get into a game where the lobby didn't leave by the end of it. Like, it was basically everyone was leaving the lobby, and anytime I would do good in the lobby, like have over a 2KD, the whole other team would leave. I mean, it would be like 2 or 3 people left. So that was happening a lot, and I was just noticing, this engagement algorithm, I don't know what it is. It's definitely, and I'm starting to subscribe to this idea as well. I don't think it's completely skill-based, because it was like you do good one game, you do bad the next, you get stomped the next, you leave, you go back. And so it was just kind of like all over the place. And he's definitely going to get into more of this on this video in particular, but it's very interesting because I think we subscribe to this idea of like, oh, it's skill-based matchmaking, so I'm only getting sweaty lobbies. Well, it's like every once in a while, Call of Duty is going to throw you a bone, and it just feels like it feels so artificial, and this is something that I've been saying over and over again. The reason why this game sucks is not like the core mechanics, it's not the gameplay, it's not the game itself, it's like everything surrounding the gameplay, with skill-based matchmaking, engagement-based matchmaking, all of that stuff. So it's super frustrating, and I know I keep pausing it here, so I'll let it play.
Honestly, it is laughable that Activision remains completely silent on the matter. Meanwhile, the player base is steadily dropping, and the numbers like Steam charts, they don't lie. So in this video, we're
Call of
going
Duty is
to
getting
dive
wrecked
into
right
the
now.
data I gathered from those 8 matches and take a closer look at how this so-called matchmaking system really works. And spoiler alert, it's not about fair competition. So forget everything you've been told about skill-based matchmaking, because this isn't about fair competition or balance in lobbies. It is only about control, because the system doesn't care about your skill, it only cares about keeping you in the game.
Yes, and that's the biggest issue I have with this. It feels like I'm being manipulated. I'm a broken record at this point, but that is the main issue that's wrong with this game right now, is like people feel like their gameplay experience is being manipulated, and it feels like a fucking TikTok. It's a TikTok algorithm. I don't know what they're using in the back end, but yes, there's definitely something going on, and he definitely, his test definitely proves it, I will say.
The next. It's a manufactured roller coaster designed to mess with your head. All right, with that said, now it's time to break down the 8 matches I played.
And the Archangel there, I do that so much. I've blown up the Archangel in my face so many times. It's like unbelievable. But yeah, I just wanted to.
We're going to go through each round individually, and I'll show you all the key stats for every game. At the top of the screen, you'll see the average KD of my team, the average KD of the enemy team, my personal KD, whether I joined the match in progress, and of course, the final result of the game. For each round, I've edited the footage to highlight the most important moments, some eliminations I got, sometimes where I died, and anything weird or suspicious that stood out. It's all cut together so you can really get a sense of what these matches looked and felt like. And what makes this even more interesting is that I took detailed notes on each match, right? I wrote down how the game felt, what stood out, and what I found frustrating or unusual. And you see those notes come into play as we go through the matches, giving more context to what was happening in real time. So let's dive into each round and see what the data and the gameplay reveals. Alright, let's talk about round 1. Right off the bat, I joined the match already in progress. The score was 47-92 for the enemy team, and this is not exactly the kind of start you want, right? And to make things even worse, I was greeted with packet burst right as I spawned in, and from the very beginning, this match felt completely rigged. And I mean, it's frustrating enough to be dropped into a losing game, but what makes it worse is that this seems to happen way too often. Not every time, sure, but it's common enough to notice a pattern. You join late, and you're stuck on the losing side, and in this case, my team was spawn-trapped, and breaking out was nearly impossible. Now, 2 specific moments in this match really stood out as red flags. First, there's a clip where I die, but before I go down, I take 2 hit markers from somewhere. Like, to this day, I have no idea where those shots came from. And what's even weirder is that if you look at the health bar in the bottom left, it's completely untouched, right? And you can hear the hit marker sound, and you can even see the indicators showing I was hit front left, but there's no damage. And the same thing happens in the kill cam, which I slowed down for you guys. So right before the Semtex explodes...
Yeah, where is he getting shot from? There's literally no one. I mean, the only person that could be hitting him, and like you see on the kill cam, like he could maybe be getting hit through this, but like no one back here can shoot through that chimney.
You can hear 2 hit markers again, but they don't register visually, right? And then
where are they?
And I think that is kind of weird.
That is super weird, man.
Clip that is weird to me because I'm shooting at an enemy, and out of nowhere, I take 2 hit markers. But again, there's no damage, and moments later, I get instantly lasered. So I include the kill cam here too. And what's funny is that you can see that I got a packet burst at the same time. You can also see that the enemy has kind of a hard time killing me there. And honestly, this whole match just felt off. Enemies didn't seem to die as quickly as they should have, I felt like I was taking more damage than them, and it just seemed like my team was at a constant disadvantage. Whether it's connection issues or something deeper in the system, it's hard to ignore how off everything felt in this game. Let us move to round 2, and this was a fresh game, no mid-match joining this time, and right from the start it felt pretty solid. Things were flowing well.
It's like Call of Duty says, all right, now it's your turn to win.
And you can actually see that in the gameplay. I managed to secure a few quick kills early on, and for a moment it felt like the match might go smoothly. And you know, guys, it happened again. That feeling of being instantly punished kicked in, and the match took a strange turn. Now, this might...
I've noticed this too on Nuketown specifically. It's like, if I start out, and this has happened to me, and I wish I had recorded some of these gameplays, but I would start out 4 or 5 KD, and then halfway through the game, boom, just dying and dying and dying and dying and dying, and then I'm down to like around a 2 by the end of the game, and it just feels so weird. It's like jarring, you know, like you're doing so well, and then out of nowhere, boom, it just flips a switch, and now you're getting dumped on. So I don't know if this is an experience that he's going to have in this round, but have had something very similar happen.
I've noticed something. Weird things seem to happen more often with players who are using skins. Right, for example, there's a moment in this round.
The skin thing is very interesting because I know for a fact so if you look at the dragon skin, and the clip that I had that went viral with the erroneous blood splatter and not really registering hit markers on the head, that was the dragon skin. I think there's some weird hitboxing. Like there's stuff that comes out and you can't hit this, but you have to hit this, and it look like you might be aimed right here, you know, right here, but then it doesn't register a shot. You have to aim a little bit lower. It's weird. It's always the paid skins, right? Another skin is the shark skin, and I wish I could find like a screenshot of this or something, but maybe I will find a screenshot and I'll add it in when I'm editing this video. But you can, if you look at the shark skin from the back, there's no place to get a headshot. There's like this much of the back of the head showing, where like every other character has like a full head. So it's like pretty much impossible to get a headshot on the shark skin from behind.
Where I'm shooting at a player from behind, and I guess I land 3 shots, maybe 4, and as he starts turning around, before he even aims at me, I'm already taking damage. And you'll see it in the clip, his weapon doesn't even fire, he's not looking at me, but I get hit markers, and then I finish him. Right? It's honestly hard to explain.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like, doom, snap. But I think that's probably a lot of the desync in bad servers that are, you know, COD is notoriously known for.
Feels off. But overall, the match started out feeling relatively balanced. It seemed like we had a fair chance, but as the game progressed, it became clear we were going to lose. Even though my team wasn't bad, when you look at the stats, like the average KD for both teams, you can see that the enemy team had a slight edge. And to be honest, it was kind of frustrating because for one moment it felt like this could have been an even match, but by the end it was kind of obvious we were at a disadvantage. Now, round 3 was yet another match where I started in a losing team, and right from the start it felt like one of those games, you know, the type, and I was dying almost instantly to enemy gunfire, and it felt like I was being completely lasered by opponents over and over again. But then out of nowhere I managed to pull off a nice streak here and there. Everything suddenly felt smooth, balanced even, I would say, and for a brief moment it felt like the game was giving me a fair shot. And of course that didn't last long, because toward the end the match started to feel rough again, and I experienced a couple of packet bursts and noticed some weird inconsistencies in my aim. And this is where things actually get really strange, because there were moments in this game where it looked like I just couldn't aim properly, and I'd be shooting at someone and my shots would completely miss, like flight.
I could see this happening, like 100%. I could see them toggling the aim assist strength on and off in a game, and I feel like I've noticed this too to some extent. But we'll let it go on. To the left or right of the enemy, because my aim was just off, even though my aim felt perfectly on point. Now, I'm playing on PC with a mouse and keyboard, no aim assist or anything, but sometimes it generally feels like there's something working against you, almost like a magnet force that's pulling your aim away from the target.
And I guess if you watch the clips, you'll see what I mean. It's especially...
And the thing is, like, I feel like Call of Duty isn't stupid, right? If they had something like this in the game, they wouldn't make it so obvious. But even if it is, it's like, how do you prove it as a player? Like, how do you prove something like this? And they probably know that. Like, if they were to implement something this egregiously rigged into the game, they're going to make it so undetectable where it's like they want you to have this emotional roller coaster up and down, so you keep playing the game, right? So if they were to add something into this game and they knew that that was going to cause that emotional roller coaster, they would make it to where it would be extremely hard to detect or test for. And so, like, we're all collectively, and there's a lot of people out here that are saying, like, there's something up with this, there's something up with this, there's something up with this, but we just can't put our finger on, like, what it is or how to test it. It's like, if Call of Duty were to actually do something like that, of course they would make it extremely hard to test for. And I think the aim assist thing is like, how do you even test for that, man? Like, the only way I think that you can test for the aim assist in this game being broken or being manipulated in some way is to use a Cronus Zen. And, like, I don't even know how you'd run the test, but that's, like, the only way I can think of to, like, remove the aim assist thing from the whole discussion around skill-based damage. And I was thinking about, even because in my next video, I want to run another similar test to the one that I did before, but you know, a lot of the people that have commented on it are like, well, how do you account for aim assist? Because you're going to have a harder time aiming against better players. So, like, it's going to be harder for you to get hit markers, essentially. And it's like, well, what if I just used a Cronus Zen? What if I just blatantly hacked? Or, you know, what if I used an aimbot and then just tracked the amount? But that's the other thing, too, is like, if the anti-cheat detects that I'm using like an actual aimbot and I'm just, you know, using it to count the amount of hit markers for each account, then they may manipulate it in some way. So I want it to be like kind of undetectable. So if I use a Cronus Zen, and that we know that's undetectable right now in Call of Duty, it's like, if I use that on both accounts, then we can basically remove aim as a variable and just count the hit markers. But I don't have a Cronus Zen, and they're sold out everywhere. So, you know, a lot of people are using them, but I don't even know how to get my hands on one, to be honest.
Noticeable in two specific moments. One where I was shooting at a guy between the buses, and another where the enemy was further back. And I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels like the game sometimes has other plans.
That's a good way of describing it, to be honest.
This was a fresh game, and we actually ended up winning, and pretty decisively too. But man, this match felt weird from the start yet again. And right off the bat, I had packet bursts before the game even began. There were a few players on the enemy team who kept taking me out.
So, I'm not going to go through each individual round because he went through 10 rounds, and I'll just kind of show this because he actually thankfully shared the data with me as well, so we can actually see. Let's see here. So these are each individual games, I'm thinking. Okay, yeah. So this is the round. So he did 8. These are the teams. These are the players. The prestige levels. So the skills, the levels, eliminations, deaths, their KDs, and whether he joined mid-game and what the result was. So all the data is right here. So I'm just like kind of making some general observations. So he joined late, he lost. He joined fresh, he lost. He joined fresh, he won. Yes, he did. So, I mean, it looks all over the place, but if y'all want to actually like dive deeper into this data, I'm just going to kind of scroll down here. And I would definitely encourage you to actually watch the full video as well, because he does go through every individual round. And I just, I want this to be available for people to take a look at. But the most interesting part of this video, at least from what I remember, is actually just him covering the analysis once he went and, did the analysis on the data afterwards.
This match felt exactly what Modern Warfare 3 feels like. Right? If you ask me to describe what Modern Warfare 3 feels like, it is exactly like the game I just played, round 8. Because we have smooth gameplay, we have fair lobbies, somehow consistent mechanics, and an overall enjoyable time. And I just wonder, why do I get these kind of lobbies in Modern Warfare 3 over and over again and not in Black Ops 6? So after 8 straight matches, it felt great to end on a high note, to be honest. And looking back, the contrast is wild, because I started this session with a 0.7 KD in the first round, also had a low point of 0.83 in round 5, and then finished here with a 3.38 KD. Yeah. And this kind of range just shows how inconsistent the
Yes, I mean, so let's take a look at that, right? So round 8, he had a 3.38, a 1.08, a 1.5, a 0.83, a 1.07, a 1.42, a 1.78, a 0.71. So, like, I mean, he does have a good point. If skill-based damage is actually in the game, and that's what determines, the team balancing and who you get put up with, like, wouldn't you just have like a 1 KD the entire time? So it actually goes beyond skill-based damage or skill-based matchmaking. It's engagement optimized matchmaking, and this is the kind of experience that you're going to have. You're never going to feel like you're actually progressing in the game, because it, like you mentioned earlier in the video, the game has other plans, right? Like it's going to tell you how to perform in the game because of how it's set it up and because of all the different inputs that it has from players, and it knows exactly who to match you with, their player style, like how you're going to perform. And so that's basically what's happening right now, which it's like, that's not a game that I want to play, man. Like, I don't want some machine to determine the outcome of a game before I even step into it. It's crazy, man. Like, it's just not how it used to be.
And this last match was really completely different, right?
So let's get to the data as well,
because
this is very
claims
interesting.
Their system is fair, balanced, and above all, fun. But the data I've got tells a very different story. So Call of Duty argues, and I quote, "Team balance is vital for ensuring games are fair for our players. The goal is to make the outcome of a match as unpredictable as possible." Sounds good on paper, right? But unpredictable outcomes don't always equal fairness. And in fact, the data I have analyzed shows the exact opposite.
It's like unpredictable, in my mind, is a way for them to basically make people not really know if they're getting better or not. If your lobbies are this unpredictable, you're like, where am I in the skill bracket? Like, am I getting better? I just went like 0.5 against this team, and now I'm dropping like a 4 KD, and now it's so wild, man. And like, the better way to do this is just put people in random lobbies. Like, there's a normal distribution, right? So if you're just like randomly mixing people together, it's basically going to be the same outcome, but like people aren't going to feel like they're getting manipulated. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's like the worst part about this game. It's not the core mechanics. It's not the gameplay or the gunplay. It's not the balancing. It's nothing like that. It's just like, when I play it, I feel like I'm on TikTok and something in the background is manipulating me to just stay on the game.
Instant and chaotic matches that feel anything but fair. They also claim overcorrection can lead to large fluctuations in the skill of players someone is matched with and against, and can result in unfair matches. Which is funny, because that's exactly what we're seeing. My data shows round-to-round KD fluctuations with a massive standard deviation of 1.03. And this is not balance, that's chaos. It's completely rigged. And a balanced deviation here would mean that the fluctuations are small and consistent, indicating a stable system where results like match quality or player performance are predictable and fair. Like what I explained before, every game would kind of look the same, right? And in our example, we had a standard deviation of 1.03, which is kind of high, right? Players might go from dominating one round to being completely outclassed in the next, and this inconsistency is what you're calling out as chaotic rather than balanced. And if the system were balanced, you'd expect the standard deviation to be much, much lower, indicating that players are consistently matched with others of similar skill. And high deviations mean the system is overcorrecting or failing to adjust properly, leading to unpredictable and unfair matchmaking outcomes. You know, they also say, and I quote,
And I think that's
disparity rules.
That could be like what all of this skill-based damage, skill-based this, skill-based that, it's all spawning from this system that's fundamentally broken. That's where it comes from. That could be just the conclusion, you know, like, what if they just took it out? What if they just took it out for like a month? Run it, it's so funny because they would rather just run it like a test on us, like little rablats without our knowledge, than just be like, hey, we're turning it off for a month. Let's see how y'all like it. I guarantee you that they would get more people to play this game. And that's what they may have to end up doing.
Concerned with minimizing the difference between the worst and the best player in a lobby. Sounds also good, right? But in practice, right, it's a mess, because my analysis found no meaningful correlation between player level, prestige, and performance metrics like KD, because the skill gap isn't being minimized, it is being exploited.
Yeah, I mean, like two-boxing, reverse boosting, smurfing, VPNs, like, it just doesn't work.
Correlation between prestige, level, and KD ratio is approximately negative 0.0057. And
then what happens when you have a prestige master that hops in and he's trying to level up his launcher and he's not contributing to the team, or trying to level up his baseball bat, knife, whatever? It's just, it doesn't work. People play differently. Like my KD has dropped on Call of Duty probably by like 0.2 over the last month, because I've just been trying to grind melee weapons and stuff. So if you're trying to balance me with a team that needs me to perform well, and I'm hopping in and I'm just using the baseball bat and the, you know, it's like, then the whole system falls apart, because it's like, oh shit, he's not doing what we expect him to. He's not sweating. He's not even trying.
Non-existent negative correlation, indicating that there is no meaningful relationship between a player prestige, level, and their KD ratio. And they also claim to prioritize grouping similarly disparate parties together, but the fluctuating eliminations, depth, and KD ratios in my data tells yet another story. The system isn't balanced in skill, it's only manufacturing outcomes to keep you hooked. Yeah. Higher level players sticking around in later rounds, paired with chaotic matchmaking, and that only screams for engagement optimized matchmaking. It is only designed to maximize playtime and not fairness. And are you ready for
the gross, man? It's fucking gross. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's like this company is ruining gaming. It really is. It's just not an organic experience anymore. It's so like corporate, greedy, profit driven. It's fucking gross, man.
In that paper, they say one of the goals of our system is to give everyone a relatively similar...
Like, guys, look at the way this is written, right? Like, this is, like, just corporate speak. You know, it's just gross, corporate, lawyer language. It's disgusting. This is what gaming is becoming.
Matchmaking experience. A fair shot at achieving and experiencing the range of outcomes. But my data shows this isn't happening. Round to round, KD changes are all over the place, and matchmaking isn't consistent at all. If you're at the bottom, you're staying there. If you're at the top, they're throwing you to the wolves. And it's not about fairness, it's about keeping players engaged. Like I said so many times, they even admit it. You know why? Because they say, if low-skilled players engage less, the higher-skilled players become the new low-skilled players. The translation here is, they'll rig the system to protect new players, even if it means sacrificing the experience of veterans. Because your skill doesn't matter, the algorithm does.
I wish they would just come out and say something like that. That would be so funny. You know, it'd just be like, it's so much more of a slap in the face to kind of like gaslight the community and to be like, oh, this is good for you guys. This is good for you guys. You should care about this happening. This is good. Why don't they just come out and be like, yeah, we don't really give a fuck about the people that have played this game forever. We care about the new people and the people that want to buy stuff in the game. That's it.
Familiar, guys?
I would respect that more, to be honest.
Right. I said that before. I said that this system, skill-based, engagement-optimized matchmaking, the system that we have in Call of Duty right now, is to shield the average player bubble. There's no reason to have this for higher skilled players, because the higher skilled players, all the players that are mad at this system because they feel punished, they're all right. And this proves that we all have different experiences when playing the game. All these people leaving Call of Duty are the players who are better than average and are getting punished. This is why these people leave. This is why Steam charts and Reddit is full of people saying Call of Duty is...
And it's like, what happens when a player starts to improve? You know, like, what if they start as a really bad player and then they become good, and then they start getting into these lobbies and they're like, what's the point of playing anymore? I feel like I'm getting worse. Did they ever think about that? Or did they just assume that by the next year they would, you know, they'll quit the game like pretty much everyone does with Call of Duty 4, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's just a matter of months before the next one comes out, and then they'll buy the next release and hope it's different.
Is dying. It will never die. It dies to the players who have common sense, to the people who are skilled in Call of Duty. But there's so many people out there that do not care about what people say about Call of Duty. They don't watch YouTube videos. They don't know about the rigged system. They don't know nothing. They just play. Like in their own paper, they contradict themselves. This is crazy. This is hilarious. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. This isn't about fair matchmaking at all. It's about profit. By making matches more chaotic and unpredictable, they keep you grinding, frustrated enough to chase that next fair match. But here's the problem. Fairness isn't the goal. Your engagement is. And that's why the system feels rigged, because it is. So, what's the takeaway here? Call of Duty's matchmaking system isn't broken. It's working exactly as intended. It's not designed for fairness. It's designed to maximize your time spent playing. But do you know what's actually fair? Accountability. But instead, Activision gives us this nonsense saying our objective is to deliver a fun, fair match. Right. Look, Activision, fun doesn't mean getting stomped by pros because your algorithm decided I needed some unpredictability in my life. And it also doesn't mean pairing me with Timmy No-Hands who can't aim and thinks sprinting into enemy fire is viable.
Yeah, and this is the issue. Like, I hate being lied to. That's the biggest thing. It's like, I don't like Call of Duty lying and gaslighting us. That's the issue I have with this game at the end of the day. And one example that just came to my mind as well is I used to really, really enjoy getting with a group of people, like a 5-6 stack team. We'd go into public lobbies and we would just go pub stomping for game over game over game over game. And we'd do win streaks. We put it in our clan tag like 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, and just try to get that number as high as possible. That is literally impossible to do in this game now, because if you win 5 games in a row, good fucking luck on game number 6. That's all I'm saying. Like, you will lose eventually. They will put you, if you win 5 or 6 games in a row in a party, you are going to be matched against fucking like phase practicing or something. I don't know, like a phase scrim. It's going to be bad for you. So it's just like, that's what's fun about Call of Duty, man. Playing with your friends, getting in a lobby, going pub stomping, and then, you know, playing a fair ranked experience, which, like, ranked is unplayable because you don't know who's cheating, you don't know who's using a Cronus Zen, who's wall hacking. It's just like, yeah, man, it fucking sucks. It just sucks.
Strategy. And I really don't understand their matchmaking system. The developers keep saying they focus on fun and fairness, but as we've all experienced, that's far from reality. They always reference their data, claiming it backs their approach, but
like, if you ever hear a corporation or like a politician or anyone in like a level of authority talking about, oh, we're focused on like fun and fairness and stuff like that, it's like, it's always a shield for something else. They're hiding something beneath the surface, because if a game is fun, you don't have to talk about like how fun it is. Oh, this game is so fun. No, like, that's not something you need to focus on. If you make a good game, you don't need to focus on, we need to make this fun and fair for everyone. Just make the game, man. Focus on the core mechanics. Like, you don't need to manufacture this to the point that it's gotten. It's crazy, man.
Problem is, you can't rely solely on data because numbers can be interpreted wrong. And I honestly think that this is what's happening here, because it is possible that the people working on the system just don't know what they're doing. They might lack the expertise to properly analyze or interpret the data they're using. But here's my suggestion.
That's a really good point. Let's just see. I want to focus on this. There's like 1,000 people working on this game. Or I just typed in Activision and Call of Duty. And 1,000 results have popped up on LinkedIn. How do we have a game that's so bad when 1,000 people are working on it? Okay, so I want to dive in a little bit more about the LinkedIn thing, kind of take a look at some of the people working at Activision right now, but I think that's another video in itself. So let's just focus on finishing up this, and I want to try to get to this other clip that I saw as well.
They need to involve actual players who play the game, because right now it feels like they just look at the data and say, oh, this is what it shows, so this must be what we need to do, and implement systems without fully understanding what fun and fairness actually mean. So it doesn't matter your skill level, how many...
Yeah, I think that's really what the point of looking at LinkedIn and looking at the people at Activision, it's like, do any of these people play video games? Like, are they just like number nerds that basically want to use us as like lab rats to see how addicting they can make the game? I think that's what's going on here. I think a lot of the people that are working at Activision, I mean, like, I looked at LinkedIn. There's like close to 1,000 people that are working on this game, and it's in this state. Like, something is wrong, man. I think it's a lot of people that don't really care about gaming. They probably just care about the numbers. They're there for the paycheck, and there's no passion left. They're probably cutting corners, a lot of them, especially with this whole AI thing. The cats, man, they love to just interrupt my videos. But yeah, so I think that's most likely what's going on with a lot of the problems here.
Times you've played Call of Duty back in the days. If you want to prove this yourself, you can try this experiment. Play 10 matches on the same map. And
we will be trying that experiment. So let's go. I know this has been a long one, but yeah, I think there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Call of Duty. I would definitely go and encourage anyone out there to check out X Reeve on YouTube. I think that he has some really good high quality videos that have been coming out, and deserves a lot more subscribers than he currently has. So go check him out, show him some love, and that's all. Goodbye.